Hello and welcome to my channel Crochet and Copy. My name is Judy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely pom-pom scarf. Let's get started. Just wanted to share the measurement of her scarf before we get started. So from this end to the other end is 10 inches, okay, about 10 inches. And then for us to do from the start to the finish, it's gonna go off a little bit off camera, but I just wanted to make sure you have the measurements of it, okay, so you could see. So we come to the other end and it's 58.5 inches, okay. Just wanted to make sure you have those measurements before we get started in making our little pom-pom scarf. So let's get started. These are the supplies we're going to be using to make our scarf. I go over them with you. The yarn that we're using is from the Carry-On collection. It's the Simplest Soft. It's 100% acrylic and medium 4. And the color is Pagoda. And that's our main color. So we're going to be using 2 of these to make our scarf. And to make the puff stitch, we're going to be, everything is the same. What we're going to be using though is the color is the off-white. So we only use 1 of those. The hook size that we're going to be using is the US I9. It's the 5.5 mm. We're going to be using our yarn needle, a scissors, and lastly, our little pom-pom maker. And the little pom-pom maker is the larger one in the package we're going to be using. So I put this information in the description below, so don't worry, we got that all covered, okay? So these are our supplies. So let's get started. So for us to get started, we're going to make a slipknot stitch. This is how I like to do my slipknot stitch. I take the yarn, drape it over my 2 fingers, and let it fall to the back. I take my hook and I pull up a loop, and there you go, and just tighten it against your hook. That's it. And now we're going to do 34 chains. So a chain is yarn over, pull through, that's 1, yarn over and pull through, that's 2, yarn over and pull through, 3, show you one more time, yarn over and pull through. So that's it for chain. So do that for 34 times and I meet you there. So this is how we look with a 34 chain. So now what we're going to do is from the second chain from our hook, so it's not this one, the first chain, but the second one right here, we're going to put a half double crochet. So a half double crochet is you yarn over before you go into that stitch. So go into your stitch and you pull up a loop and you have 3 loops on your hook. So now what you're going to do is yarn over again and you're going to pull across all 3 of them at the same time. There you go. That's how you do a half double. Show you another one. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. That's it. Show you again. Yarn over, go into your stitch, then pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull across all 3. So you're going to do that till you get to the end of your chain. So when you're finished, you're going to have 33 half double crochet, okay? So keep on working with that and I'll meet you there. This is how we look when we completed row 1 with our 33 half double crochet. So now for row 2, you're going to chain 1. So chain 1, remember again, is just yarn over and pull through. That's it. So now turn our work. Are we going to work on the back of our project, okay? So we're going to do half double crochet into each stitch that we just did from row 1, excuse me. So again, you yarn over and you go into that very first stitch right there, pull up a loop, you have 3 loops on your hook and yarn over and pull through. So that's it. So keep on doing that, and we're going to change our color at the last stitch that we're going to do here for the half double. I'll show you how to do that. So work on doing 32 half double crochet and I'll meet you there, okay? just keep on working with that, and of course put one half double in each stitch. So you have go here, there, here, there, and here. So keep on working with that, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so this is how we look when we did our 32 half double crochet. So now to complete that last stitch, that's where we're going to change our color. So just do a regular half double crochet in our last stitch, and here is where we change the color. So drop your old yarn, and we're going to start with the new yarn. And remember, it's the off-white, and then pick it up and just yarn over your hook and pull through to complete that stitch, and that's it. That's how we change our yarn. So now with our new yarn, we're going to start row 3. So row 3, chain 2, 1 and 2. That's it. And turn your work, because we're going to be working on the right side. So now we're going to start doing our puff stitch. So our puff stitch, we're going to skip that first stitch right here. We're not going to go into that one, but this stitch right here, our second stitch, is where we're going to start doing our puff stitch. And this is how we do our puff stitch. Yarn over, go into that stitch, pull up a loop. So we're going to do this 5 times, and that's how many loops we're going to get on our hook, is 11. Okay, so that was 1, yarn over, back into that same stitch, pull up loops, 2, back down, pull up loops, 3, back down, 4, then back down, pull up, 5. And we could check our work to see how many we have loops on our hook. Okay, so separate it, got 1, 2, 3 right there, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so now to complete it, yarn over and pull across all 11 loops on our hook. There you go. And to hold our puff stitch in place, we just chain 1. And that's it. So this is the pattern we're going to follow till we get to our last stitch, and then I'll show you what to do. But let me show you again the puff stitch. Yarn over, skip that next stitch, go into the following, and we do it 5 times, remember. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, see, I drop a stitch there, so 5. So make sure you count them as you go along till you get comfortable with it, but it's 5 times you go into your same stitch to make 11. So let's do it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Completed, just yarn over, pull through all of them at the same time. There you go. Remember, chain 1, yarn over, skip the next stitch, go into the next stitch, and 5 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then yarn over, completed by pulling across all of them at the same time. Chain 1. And that's it. That's how our puff stitch look. I think it looks pretty nice. I like it how it comes out. So again, that's the pattern. Keep on doing it till you get to your last stitch, and I'll meet you there. So when we complete our puff stitch, we're going to have 16 of them from the start to the finish, and then we have our last stitch right here to do for row 3. And for row 3, we're going to put a double crochet, and then we're going to change our color at the end of that stitch. Okay, so a double crochet, excuse me, is yarn over, go into that last stitch right here, pull up a loop, yarn over again, and pull across just the first 2 loops on our hook. There you go. And now we change our color because we're going to complete the stitch. So what I did is from where we left off with our main color, I just cut it off. Okay, so just go ahead and cut it off, and then you could pick up the main color now. Again, to change the color, give it a nice tail so we could weave it in later. Yarn over or hook and pull across all two of them, and that's it. And that's how you do a double crochet also to change our color for yarn. So now for row 4 and row 5, what we're going to do is the same thing. So chain 1, turn our work. Now we're working the back side of our work, and we're going to put a half double crochet into each chain, excuse me, in each stitch we did for round 3. So right here, in the half double, remember it's just yarn over, pull through all of them at the same time. So yarn over before you go into that stitch, and then next one, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops in your hook, yarn over and pull across all of them. So that's what you're going to do for round 4 and 5. Okay, so keep on working with that pattern, and I'll meet you there and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now this is how it looks when we're at row 5, and here we're going to change our color in the last stitch. And although we're here with the white or the off-white, you could leave it and just keep on weaving it in to change the color, but I like to see it better when we cut it off. So remember, cut off a nice long tail if you're going to cut it off, so we could weave it in later. So I'm going to do that now. Cut off a nice tail, and then weave it in later, because that's what we're going to start with, the white again, the off-white, excuse me, and we're going to change the color, remember, at the last stitch we're going to do. And then with row 4 and 5, you're going to have your 33 stitches back again, right? So pull up that loop, and now pick up our new yarn, give it a tail so we could weave it in later, yarn over and complete it by pulling across. There you go. So now chain 2, 1, 2, because now what we're doing, we're working on the next set of puff stitch. So that's the pattern that we're following, because we want to make 3 sets of puff stitch. So this is 1. The next row of row 6 will be our puff stitch, and then the following row 7 and 8 you would do just the regular half double crochet with the main color. So that's our pattern that we want to do, and we want to make 3 rows of the puff stitch. So again, I'll show you how to do the puff stitch. Remember, yarn over, skip that first stitch right there, go into your second stitch, and we're going to pull up loops 5 times in that same stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then to complete, well, you double check, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then to complete it, just pull across all of them at the same time. And to keep it in place, you just chain 1. So again, it's the same thing that we did when we made the first set of puff stitch. Remember, skip a stitch and then put it, and then you're going to change the color to the main color again. So you're going to cut it off, and then you do that. So do that till we get the pattern of, we're starting 1 here, 1 more. Again, the pattern is we're going to do till we get 3 rows of puff stitch. And when we get there, I'll show you what to do next, because you're going to be ending off in row 9 with all of that when you make your 3 rows. So keep on working with that pattern, and I'll meet you there, okay? This is how we look when we're up to row 9. We did our 3 rows of our puff stitch. And of course, your puff stitch, you have your 16, and then the 2 rows we did with our half double crochet, we will have our 33 stitches. So we're going to finish off row 9 because we're going to change the color now. So we're going to put 1 double crochet into our last stitch right there. So yarn over, go into this last stitch, pick up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook, and then pick up our main color, and that's green. Of course I cut it off because it was over here, so cut it off, give it a nice little tail, and then yarn over and pull across all 2 of them, and that's it to complete it. Okay, so now for row 10 we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn our work. So now I also cut off the white, so it's not in our way when we're working, because now for row 10 you're going to go all the way up to row 28, and the same pattern that we did here for the double rows of the half double crochet, that's what we're going to be doing. Just repeat that back and back and forth till we get all the way up to row 128, and I'll meet you there. So I'll show you again what our stitches are. So it's a half double in that first stitch right here, and then you're going to do this across, and remember you're going to get your 33 stitches. The other stitches right here, it's a little tight because that's where we put our puff stitch. Okay, and one right there, the next stitch. So it's again, we're just doing our half double right in here on top of the puff stitch. It's a little tight. So the next stitch will be here, there, here, and there. Hopefully you can see good there and there. So keep on working that. Remember, you're going to go all the way up to row 128. Keep a track by jotting down where you are, and I'll meet you there. So now we're completing row 128. So we have to change the color of the yarn because we're going to start doing our puff stitch design again. So we're going to do 3 rows of them in the same pattern that we did when we started. So I just wanted to make sure you understand that and get that. So I'll just show you again how to change the color of the yarn. Remember, make a nice long tail so we could weave it in later, and just yarn over and pull through to complete it. So that's the completion of 128 rows. Yeah, we did a lot of work. It was nice and big work we did. So excellent job. So anyway, so now again for the puff stitch, I'll show you. Remember, now we're going to start row 129. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and turn your work. And now we're going to start doing the puff stitch again. So the puff stitch again is yarn over, skip the first stitch right there, and we go into the second stitch. You're going to do pull-up loops 5 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then yarn over to complete it and pull across all 11 loops that we have on our hook, and to hold it in place we chain 1, and that's it. So do that for the next, remember you skip that stitch in the next stitch, and continue working with that pattern till you get the 3 rows of your puff stitch, and I meet you there. So I should meet you back at when we're doing, keep a track, remember, jot it down, because you're going to meet back at row 136. So I meet you there. So again, it's the puff stitch, and then you do 2 rows of the regular half double that we've been doing for the whole pattern. So keep on working with it, and I meet you there. And remember, of course, cut off your yarn as you go along, so it makes it easier to work with. Okay, so now we're going to complete row 135. So we're going to change the color because we're doing the double crochet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut off our main color. Remember, give it a nice tail so we can weave in later, and complete it by just changing the color of our yarn. There you go. So now to start our next row, because we're going to complete putting on our last row for our scarf. So that will be row 136 to 137. Again, you just chain 1 and you turn your work, and you're just going to do 2 rows of the half double crochet. So just continue working with that, and I'll meet you there when you finish that, okay? Okay, so we did those 2 rows, so we completed up to 137 rows. Yay! Anyway, so to complete it now, what we're going to do is chain 1 and then pull up a nice tail and cut it off. We're going to weave it in. That's it. And then we have the white still, so give it a nice tail, cut it, and there you go. So I'm going to grab my yarn needle and I'm going to show you how to weave it in. Okay, so before we start weaving in, what I like to do to ensure that the 2 that we had meeting at the end, the yarns, I just like to give it a little tug, and then I give it one little knot right there. Hold it in place. And this is our ending one. I just leave that. Go weave him by himself. We don't have to tie him off with anybody. And I already did this side over here. Already gave it a little knot. So now I have my yarn needle. So we're just going to weave it in. And try when you're doing it to let the yarn hide so it doesn't show on the other side too. Because with this pattern it worked out nice. See, they'll come out. So just keep on weaving in. I like to go a little bit one row this way and then the other row that way. So we've weaved in our ends. All of them are tucked in nicely. Did good job. And I also attach some of the pom-poms already. I'm just going to show you how to attach one of the pom-pom, because then you follow the same pattern for the rest of the pom-poms that we have, okay? And also I made 2 pom-poms so you can see. I made the main color that we use for a scarf and also the off-white. So I choose to use the off-white because I think it looks better for our scarf, but feel free to use which one you prefer. And in this tutorial, I'm not going to show you how to use the pom-pom maker. The next tutorial, I'll show you how to do that. So you just know, I'm just showing you how to attach it to our scarf. So let me grab my stuff and then I'll show you how to do that. Okay, now to attach the pom-pom, we have 2 strands. So we're going to do a finer edge of one of our stitches, and we're just going to pull just 1 strand of our yarn through. And then use your hook. The hook size I'm using a little smaller than the one that I actually used when we made our scarf, okay? So just pull it through. And then what we're going to do, we're going to start making little knots, okay? So I do like twice so it's secure against our scarf. Try not to get any of your little pom-pom edges in. Oh, it's a little hard. And now I'm going to grab my yarn needle and I'm going to show you how to attach it to the scarf. Okay, so I got my yarn needle and 2 strands together, and we're just going to start weaving it. Okay, so we have attached our pom-pom. And then remember, just do the same thing for all the other pom-poms, okay? And this is how it looks when we attach it. Yeah, we're finished. We did it. We made our scarf. I think it came out really nice. I had fun working on it. I hope you did too. And thank you for watching. And that's it. We made our scarf. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.